In the great kingdom of Bakwezi, there lived a woman named Agatha who got engaged to a wealthy man. This engagement made many girls within the kingdom envious, as they wished to be engaged to the same man. Agatha, however, was delighted to marry her husband Luswata, as she had always dreamed of marrying a man who would love her unconditionally and change her life for the better. Coming from a very poor family, she had seen how hard her father worked to put food on their table and had vowed to bring her family out of poverty. However, her joy was short-lived. On the night of her wedding, she woke up to find her entire body in pain and covered in ringworm spots. These spots were all over her skin, causing extreme pain that made her scream in agony. Her wealthy husband woke up to the horrifying sight of the ringworm spots on his wife's body. He stared at her in terror, wondering why her body was covered with ringworm spots. As she cried, Luswata, the husband-to-be, rushed her to the known healer within the kingdom. The healer told him that his wife had been cursed with evil spots. As he tried to heal her, he was struck by an invisible force, which forced the healer to chase Agatha away from his shrine and forbid her from returning. This left Luswata in confusion, wondering why the healer acted in that manner. He offered more money to the healer to heal his wife, but the healer refused, saying that the curse upon his wife's life was very serious and they should find a solution elsewhere. They both returned home confused, but Agatha's body pain intensified. This marked the beginning of her life of misery. She barely slept and began to lose so much weight that she even thought of taking her own life, but changed her mind after realizing that she was pregnant. Every healer she went to chased her away, which terrified her husband, who wondered what his wife could have done to be cursed in such a way. One morning, Luswata was no longer interested in their relationship. He approached his in-laws to request the bride price he had paid during their introduction ceremony, not knowing that his wife was pregnant. Agatha had no choice but to return to her parents' house. News of their separation spread throughout the kingdom, and people began to speculate what could have happened between them. Although heartbroken by his daughter's situation, Agatha's father welcomed her back with open arms to console her. This prompted her mother to visit a very powerful woman on the outskirts of the kingdom, who was known to possess dark powers. When she arrived at the woman's house, she told her about her daughter's journey. She asked the woman what was wrong with her daughter, and the woman revealed that her husband Luswata was also part of what had been happening to her. Desperate to free her daughter from the evil, Agatha's mother asked the powerful woman for her help. The woman told her that her help would be costly. Without thinking twice, Agatha's mother agreed to do whatever it would take to free her daughter from her torment. The powerful woman smiled as she handed her a clay pot filled with a weird substance. She told Agatha's mother that Agatha should drink the substance at midnight for 7 days, and that on the 7th day she would be free from the ringworm spots that had tormented her life. Agatha's mother returned home with the clay pot. She never told her daughter what she did to find the solution, only that the liquid substance would aid in relieving her pain. Agatha trusted her mother and drank the substance. On the first night, she felt some relief and was able to sleep through the night. As the days went by, the pain began to subside, and on the 7th day, she noticed that the ringworm spots had all disappeared from her body. She was delighted to finally be free, but something strange began to happen to her at midnight. Agatha was struck with unusual madness, which only occurred at midnight. She regained her senses whenever the sun was out. "What could be the matter?" asked Agatha's mother. This madness made her run to the streets and to her husband's house, banging on the door. One day, she bit off her husband's ear. This all shocked Luswata, who always chased her away from his house to avoid more embarrassment. People started distancing themselves from Agatha and her family, thinking they were cursed. Luswata vowed never to have anything to do with her and her family after his terrifying encounter with her when they were staying together. This was a challenging moment for Agatha's parents, who looked for solutions everywhere but found none. However, one night while Agatha roamed the streets mad, she came across a very old woman who seemed to calm her down easily. The old woman took her to her house and made her fall into a very deep sleep. By morning, she woke up to find herself in this strange house. Terrified as to how she got there, she stood up quickly and tried to run away, stumbling into the old woman whose name was Maggie. "You are awake," Maggie said to her. "You don't have to be afraid, my daughter," she said as she urged Agatha to have a seat. Maggie then asked her if she knew the cause of her madness. Agatha shook her head as she began to cry. Maggie revealed that it was a woman who was the cause of her suffering. This woman did all these things because she could not win Luswata's heart. She was not ready to back down even after knowing that Luswata had decided to marry Agatha. Instead, she approached her evil mother, who put a curse on Agatha, causing pain and ringworm spots on her body so that Luswata would reject her. To make matters worse, Agatha's own mother unknowingly approached the same woman who had placed the curse to seek a solution. The woman, despite taking away the spots, inflicted madness on Agatha to ensure that Luswata never accepted her back into his life. She made Agatha visit his home on the first night to bite off his ear, putting a complete strain on any chances of reconciliation. As they spoke, Luswata was in the arms of the evil woman's daughter, who had wrapped him around her fingers. Agatha could not believe all she was hearing. She asked the old woman what she could do. The old woman told her to return home and crush the clay pot that the evil woman had given her mother. By doing so, she would be free from the madness. She then told Agatha to go to her husband's house and set him free. The old woman gave Agatha some herbs and told her to chew them before heading to her husband. These herbs would repel the spell placed in his house. She instructed Agatha to call out his name 3 times, which would break the spell on Luswata. Determined to free herself and her husband, Agatha thanked the old woman and set out to follow her instructions. When she reached home, she asked her mother about the clay pot. This shocked her mother, who asked how she knew about the pot. After some hesitation, her mother showed her where it was hidden. Without any hesitation, Agatha crushed the pot into pieces. Immediately, she felt something heavy leave her body. She told her mother about the evil woman who had been behind all her suffering. Agatha's mother opened her mouth in shock and asked for forgiveness, as she did not know that the evil woman was behind her daughter's suffering. Agatha then set out to her husband's home to free him from the spell. She chewed the herbs and entered his house filled with confidence. As soon as she stepped inside, she called out his name 3 times, "Luswata, Luswata, Luswata." He suddenly looked up, recognized his beloved wife, and moved closer to hug her. This was when Agatha realized the spell had been broken. The evil woman and her daughter were confronted by people as they tried to flee the kingdom and were stoned to death for their evil acts. This sent a message to anyone who harbored such evil intentions. The lessons to be learned from this story are that nothing is hidden under the sun. Those who do evil to others will eventually face the repercussions of their actions. Always be discerning and cautious when seeking advice and help, as you never know others' genuine intentions toward you.